Hi, I'm Unn Swantröm, a UX and product designer. Today we're talking about design concepts. What are they and how can they help you in your design process? Let's do this. When I start working on a brand new project, a brand new service, I want to make sure that I have a very clear concept. A design concept is really a tool to help give your ideas clarity and direction. And those are really important things if you want to design a well-working, successful service. Most successful brands and companies had a really clear design concept when they set out on their journey. And you can have that too in your design projects, no matter if they are big or small. When I'm working on a brand new service and I'm looking to nail down the core concept of what it really is, there are 3 questions that I ask myself. First question, who is it for? Who is the main user group that you are targeting? And the answer can never be everyone. If you design for everyone, you're really designing for no one because it's just too many people. And when you have such a vague idea of who you're making something for, you will lose that edge. Pick a niche group of people who have their own specific set of needs and wants and desires. When you have a specific audience that you are trying to help, you are doing yourself a great service because it will be so much easier to understand what are the most important problems in their lives and address them. So pick your audience with care and then talk to them. Do research, interview your target audience so that you know what problems are really on their minds. Other people will want to join the party once you've nailed the experience for your target audience. They will start talking about it with their circles of friends and family. So your product will most likely grow if you start with a niche and do that really well. Question number 2, where is the money? Can my client make money off of this service? Because if nobody can make money off of it, it'll probably shut down in a very short time and all your hard work will have been for nothing. So make sure to do your best to enable the company that you're working for to have an income stream from this service. If you can think about that, that's going to help. Also, think about what type of revenue stream this service will have. Because if it is ad-based, showing people ads, if it's a subscription-based model, or if it's a one-time buy type of service, that is going to affect how you design it as well, and the mechanisms that the UX will have and everything. So plan ahead. Make sure to think about, at the very beginning, what type of revenue stream you will have. At least have that discussion with your client. Number 3, what is the key feature or differentiator about this service? What is that number 1 thing this app helps people do? Make sure you can express that with a single sayable sentence so that it's easy to talk about your service for other people. If you can't express what that number 1 thing you help people with is, then your users won't be able to talk about your service in a convincing way and say, oh, look at this app. It helps me with blah, blah, blah. You should use it too. So have that sentence already in your concept. That really helps me to stay on track with what we're doing. Don't try to solve every single problem all at once. Have a main thing that is your defining experience in your app. Think about your key feature as your defining moment of the app. What is it that is going to make people want to talk about this and want to use it? What is that one thing that you're really helping people with? The problem most startups have and companies when they're trying to make a new service is that they try to do too much at once, try to solve too many problems for their users and end up doing them not so well. So pick your scope, your problem area, and do it well. That is the key to a really successful service. It's always way easier to widen your scope and do more things, add more features. But before you do that, make sure you do something really, really well. It's easier to establish yourself as a household brand, a name, as someone that if you are best at what you do for a niche audience than if you try to do everything for everyone, because that's not very memorable. So to have a memorable design concept, pick something interesting, a really interesting problem for someone specific, and make sure that it is possible to make money doing that. And when you have those three components, you will probably have a quite strong design concept that is easy to talk about, will attract investors, and get buy-in from other parts of your organization. And depending on what you answer, how you choose to combine these three parts, you can get wildly different results, a wildly different service if you change what's in your concept. Let's take an example. Say, for instance, Spotify. What would their circle have looked like when they just came out, when they had their design concept? Well, first and foremost, who was it for? It was for people who downloaded music illegally. They were the people they were trying to target, because if they could get them to change their behavior, they knew that they were on to something great. So for Spotify, the payment method was a subscription model, and that was also quite groundbreaking for people at that time, to pay for music on a monthly basis rather than just buy one at a time. And 3, what was their defining feature? It was streamed music. You didn't have to download files to your computer, but you streamed music. It was streamed music for people who were downloading illegally, and the revenue stream was subscription based. So that was what that circle would look like for Spotify in the beginning years. Think about Facebook. Who was it for? It was mainly for college students at the very beginning. That was their target audience. It was an audience they knew and could get to know easily. And the main purpose of it was to keep in touch with friends after you had left school. Facebook was so successful with its target audience and doing that one specific thing that when they added the revenue stream, which was ads, they get people looking at stuff, things just blew up. But to get Facebook established, it was just that one target audience, students. It was ad-based revenue stream, and it was to keep in touch with friends and family. Super simple and very strong concept from the beginning, and then it grew once it was established. Make sure that your concept is very clear in the beginning, and when you get successful at what you do, feel free to go wide and try new things, but first stay true to your concept. Because my design concept is also what helps me make all my decisions throughout the design process. It's what keeps me on track when I am thinking about all the thousands of decisions you make when you are designing a brand new product. For instance, what is the look and feel going to be like? Well, that depends on who the user is going to be. What are the UX patterns going to be like? Well, that depends on the revenue stream. And where do I start designing? Well, that depends on the defining feature. That's where I start. Always start with your defining feature, that key moment. So help yourself in your design process by answering these 3 questions. That's going to take you really far in understanding what is your product going to be. So in my parking app that I'm working on, for the first question, I'm thinking that the target audience is people who are not car owners, but rather rent cars or have timeshare cars, or maybe are like beginners at driving. So people who are not frequent drivers. And why do I think that group is interesting? Well, because when you don't drive on a daily, then you will have different habits than people who drive every day. People who drive every day, for them driving is very habitual, so maybe it'll be harder to tap into their habits. But for people who rent a car or have share a car with someone, driving is more of an event, and maybe they'll be open to trying new services as well. That's where my thinking is, at least right now. The revenue stream will be the actual payment of the parking, and I don't think I want to innovate on that particular point. And on the third one, I actually want your help. So what is going to be the defining feature of this app? Do you think it should be A, finding a parking spot, or B, deciding if this is a legal parking spot? Did I do a good job of parking? Can I park here? In A, it's about time saving and helping people get to where they need to be in time. And in B, it's about how to help people never to get a parking ticket. So that is my thoughts on the concept for my parking app. And I would love to hear your comments on what direction you think I should take this app. Thank you all for watching. I'm Unn Swantröm. This is Arnold, and see you next time. Bye!